What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. I am here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Saturday, October 11th, 2025. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of upstate New York here and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a very special guest that's on with me today. She is an author of a book called Ignite Your Inner Drive. She has her own podcast called Rooted, Real Talk Podcast with Jamie Mallek. She's also in entrepreneurship as she has a plumbing business and she's also in real estate business as well. Without any further ado, I want to introduce you the wonderful, talented, and the beautiful Jamie Mallek. Welcome, Jamie, to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm so excited for this conversation today.
Yeah, me too. I'm super excited. I always love talking to people in entrepreneurship and also other people that have a podcast as well. And my first question to you is the same as it always is with every guest that I have on here. And that is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Did you have any role models, any inspirations, maybe growing up? But ultimately, what is your why for having a podcast, writing a book, getting into entrepreneurship?
Great question. I love this question because I think our whys are what drive us to do what we do, right? So that's the ultimate foundation. I believe the Bible talks about our past pain being turned into purpose. And so I believe that God has equipped me with the skills of being hyper intentional and aware of the lessons of the specific situations that I have experienced, that I can help other people then teach them like what I have already learned out of those outcomes so then they can be conquerors of their own life. And so I have found that really becoming aware of Jesus in every single situation has helped me to overcome everything that much faster, and that I'm not alone in any circumstance, and that I can learn something and he's developing me and through all those experiences. And so if I can help other people then again seek Jesus in those moments and to find the learning lesson in every moment, that it will just help them overcome it faster and to become who God has truly made them to be faster. So that is why I believe I do what I do. I want to help others just conquer their lives and be overcomers of specific situations, because life hits us no matter which direction we face. It happens. And if we can turn those moments into experiences where we can learn from them and grow from them, then it will just help us to do the things that God is calling us to do.
I appreciate that answer. I always love a pay it forward kind of mentality, and that's simply what you're pretty much advocating there, right there. Now, you talked about past experiences without going too deep, because you don't need to go too deep, but talk about some of those past experiences that you've had that has propelled you to this point of having that particular mindset. Because, like you said, you had to come into that mindset of being able to, one, to have that heart to pay it forward, and based upon those past experiences.
Yes, there's so many that come to mind. Let's just start off the bat, because this is something I consistently struggle with, is the battle of the
Mhm,
mind, and your
mhm.
mindset will shape everything. So if you don't get control of your thoughts, then you will ultimately just be like spiraling down the wrong path if you aren't taking control of your thoughts and your mindset. So something
True.
that I've learned in the past is starting with actually working with my now husband. It was a very challenging time because I had just gone into plumbing, a brand new industry. I was also just starting to date him, like we just started working together, like all these different aspects all at the same time. That was
Mhm.
very hard in so many different ways, and I found myself like my mindset was just spiraling, and every day I was just like crying and wanting to quit and just praying like, God, guide me in a different direction, because this doesn't feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. But he kept
Mhm.
me there for a reason, and now I can see why, going back to connect the dots. But it really took me controlling my mindset and putting those practices into place to get me to where I am today, because like I said, our mindsets control everything. So if we don't have control over our thoughts, then our
Mhm.
feelings are going to follow our thoughts, and our behavior is going to follow our feelings. And so we want to make sure that we are taking control of that. So that's number one. Let me see. Rejection has been a stronghold that I struggle with also.
Yeah, with
That's
me
a
both.
generation. Really? Okay, you too. I find that to be common actually. So that's something that I still struggle with. I'm overcoming it on a daily basis with God's grace and His help, But being able to take control of that also, and take control of my heart, guarding our heart, right? So that we don't be offended, because us as believers, we're not to be offended. We are to use it in for God's glory, and we are to transform everything in our minds. And that again goes to mindset, right? And what our thoughts are thinking. If we are feeling rejected, it's because we have these thoughts going on in our minds. So we need to switch them like instantly, so then we can continue to do God's work. So there's so many things that come to mind, that have got me to where I am. In my past, there's drinking was a major issue for me.
Mm.
It wasn't that I had a problem of always needing to have it, but I found when I was drinking, I just got out of control and I would black out all the time.
Right.
And it took Ron, actually, my now husband, it took a reality check from him, somebody of importance, that God used for me to give me a reality check of like, hey, this isn't okay. Something's going on here and this is not what I signed up for. And so that was like my first reality check, where there had been actually several more before that in my past, starting from 16 to 21. There were some incidences that happened back then that involved drinking that should have opened my eyes but didn't. But now it took Ron to give me that ultimate reality check of that something's going on here. You need to stop. And then I became very aware of what my drinking patterns were and how it was affecting me in my life. And so then I took control of that and I slowed down drinking. And now I can say I'm past a year sober now, and all glory to God. It's just been amazing because it's changed my life. But it's helped me get to where I am now, because now I have this clarity and this energy that I've never experienced before because I stopped that. But again, there are so many learning lessons within those moments of probably about a 12-year span
Yeah.
of that partying life, where I can help others really understand like the difference between now and then, and how it's helped me get to where I am now, being able to say that I'm sober. And even like just slowing down on drinking, in general, it just makes a huge difference. So those are just a few examples.
No, that's amazing. No, and I appreciate the transparency. I really do, and I appreciate you sharing that. And yes, rejection for me, no question about that, has always been a struggle. Not just with relationships, but just with maybe with jobs, right?
Hmm.
People sometimes going out for different industries, and when you get rejected, you always wonder, what could I have done better? What could I have said better? What could I have put on the resume that made it stand out in the
Hmm.
job sense? What about in relationships, right? With family, with maybe a significant other. Sometimes rejection is very hard to accept. And I've felt myself being more humble though, as the years have went on. Now I'm in my 30s, Jamie. So now in my 20s, it was really bad because I was just an overthinker all the time. Like, wow, you know what I mean? And my now I'm not so as much as an overthinker, is that I have to respect the decision more. I didn't really respect people's decisions. That's what I really was looking at. I didn't really
Hmm.
respect the rejections of that. I was always questioning it, like, why would you, or why did you make this? But as I've gotten older, I have to respect people's decisions, and think about it and internalize it and understand, okay, you know what? When one door closes, another one will eventually open.
Hmm.
Um, and that's not just with relationships, that's with jobs as well. You can't
Yes.
overthink things. Like, your time is your time. The job that's meant for you, the relationship that's meant for you, the acceptance that is meant for you instead of the rejection is meant for you. And I really had
Yeah.
to kind of think about that,
Hmm.
as I've gotten older, for sure, no question.
Hmm. Yeah, I've actually heard also Jamie Kern Lima talks about this. She says rejection is God's redirection. And I found that so profound, because once I've learned how to take control of the rejection feelings,
Mhm.
understanding it's not me as a victim, but flipping it to like, okay, what can I learn from this actually, so then I can go
Right.
forward. So it's
Yes.
just it's a mind frame shift.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, great segue, because I want to talk about Rooted, which is the name of your podcast, Real Talk with Jamie Mallek. I want to know the origins of that. I would love to know the origins of that. How'd you come up with the name? What type of guests do you have on there? How often do you podcast? How long? is an episode of a podcast that you do, and different things of that nature.
Thank you so much for sharing. It's a brand new podcast. We just launched August 25th, actually, was our first launch. So I'm so excited for it to be here finally and just to share it. God has put this on my heart to go deeper in these topics. And I actually started doing more like reels and life lessons on Instagram probably about 2 years ago. And there's only so much you can say in that 60 to 90 seconds. And so I was thinking, I'm like, man, I can just go so much deeper on all these topics. And I love podcasts myself. I'm like a podcast queen. I always have a podcast on. And so it was put on my heart that I wanted to go deeper in these topics and that a podcast was probably the platform to do it. And
Mhm.
it's really funny. It's a funny story because I've been wanting to do it for so long, but my schedule is so crazy already as it is. I'm like, how on earth am I going to fit this in too? Like, there's no way. So I kept on pushing it off, thinking it's not the right time. And then I had a gal from my small group actually. She asked if I wanted to do one with her. I'm like, perfect. Like, I've been wanting to do this forever. I just maybe thinking like somebody else with me to do it would take a little bit of the burden off. Ended up not working out. But then literally right after that, publisher that I was collaborating with for my book had come to me and they were like, hey, I think you should start a podcast. I'm like, well, that's funny that you say that. So I'm like, you know what? I
Mhm.
think God is just opening the door and it's the time and I need to figure it out. And on my way to an event in Las Vegas, actually, to a Hermosi event, my girlfriend Emily was there and she has a podcast as well.
Mhm.
And I was explaining to her the story and stuff. She's like, well, how long do you think it's going to take? And I'm like, well, I have no idea. And she's like, well, that's your problem. Like, it's not really going to take you as much time as you think it is. It's just an unknown thing to you. So you just need to
Right.
start it.
Right.
And she was also like, well, are you trying to do XYZ on it? And I'm like, I just want to put it out there just to help other people. And she's like, so why are you putting so much pressure on yourself? And I'm like, all these breakthroughs of like, okay, I hear you. I just need to start it now. So then I just took off. I was like, all right, God, like, let's go. And so we started. And again, I just wanted to dive deeper into all these topics. And so um, the length of them is right now it's about around 20 minutes average. Usually they're not super long. I right now it's just me speaking by myself on there. I do plan on having guests on there eventually.
Mhm.
But again, it's just new, so just getting used to the whole thing and learning as I go. But we talk about everything. We talk about so many different topics, and everything is rooted back into scripture, and that's where the name came from, Rooted Real Talk. It's
Mhm.
all it's faith-based conversation to renew our minds and have breakthroughs and tie every topic back into scripture because I believe the Bible is life's map, and so everything that we go through we can find in scripture, and so that's what we talk about, just honest conversations, and it's been a blast.
I love that. I really do. And listen, I think everybody in life has staple scriptures for themselves, particularly. I mean, obviously for me, it's probably Philippians 4:13.
Yes.
That's a very good scripture. Jeremiah 29:11-12 is another great scripture of mine that I keep in my heart for sure. Those two are the staples that I grew up with my mom and my
Mm-hmm.
dad being able to, advocate to me those particular ones over and over again. Even my grandmother would do that. God rest her soul. So I love that the fact that you came up with that rooted and being able to be vulnerable, right? To be vulnerable on these podcasts to talk about not just some of your transgressions and some of your past things that you dealt with, but also bringing back the scripture into current day and how it applies to your life now and how you use some of the experience because life is the best teacher. There's no manual to read this, Jamie. There's no like step one, step two, step three to, be able to master this life that we call living. You just have to go through it. Everybody's cards are dealt differently. Everybody goes through different kind of adversity, is what I like to say. So, yeah, I love that. I love that part. Now, with that being said, though, I want to ask you some favorite questions. And I want you to give me the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions, Jamie. Okay, so here we go.
Okay. All right.
Favorite meal you like to cook?
Favorite meal I like to cook is breakfast. I breakfast is my favorite. of
Mm.
all, and it's the same thing every single time. I do like a scrambled eggs with ground turkey and spinach and bell peppers and pepperoncinis, and it's
Ooh.
my favorite of all time.
You know what? Listen, for me, that sounds delicious. No question about it. Now, the only thing you missing on my plate is maybe a biscuit. That's about it. Other than that,
Okay.
everything else is great. I love that. I love breakfast is also my favorite food of the day. It's my favorite meal to cook. I'm a huge pancakes and waffle person, either Belgian waffle or my
Mm,
wheat pancakes that I like to make, or wheat French toast. Yeah, yeah, I'm a
mm.
wheat French toast person. So yeah, I like to whip up something in the kitchen like that for sure. No question. So I
Yum.
like that. Um, Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Favorite concert I've ever attended. Ooh, this one's more challenging. Let's see. I feel like I've been to so many. What was the name of it? It's the Stephen
Mm,
Furtick does Elevation Nights. It's kind of like a concert slash sermon, but more so like a worship service, basically, but
mhm.
in a concert setting. And it was amazing. I went with my mom, and it was just like the most incredible experience I've ever experienced. Actually, it was so fun, and just like I just love the music, Elevation Rhythm, Elevation Worship. They just have such a great playlist of worship music. So it was incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I particularly love those type of concerts. I love all genres of music. Don't get me wrong, but Chris Tomlin, Lecrae, Andy Mineo, KB, Hillsong United is another one. Maverick City Music is another one of mine. That's one of my favorites. All those acts I've seen in person, in
Mm.
concert, and I particularly love those as well. I gotta ask this bonus question. Have you ever went to the Passion Conference?
No, but I've heard of it and it sounds amazing.
It is. I toot that horn for sure. It is definitely amazing. Obviously, I lived in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I went to college at. Got my undergrad and my master's there. I went to Passion twice, so I've
Mm.
heard people like Andy Stanley talk. Heard people like we had a church there called Passion City Church. And it was one of the most famous churches in Atlanta, Georgia. I used to go there. They actually built another one that was a little closer to my house. So I was like, "Ooh, that's great! Thank goodness." So I was able to go to that one that was closer to my house at the time. So if you get a chance, please try to go to that Passion Conference or try to go to a leadership conference. Sometimes they call it the Orange Conference as well. I
Mm.
don't know if you've heard of that,
Mm-mm.
but those particular conferences are meant for people that are leading in leaders in worship, people that want to not only network with other peoples that are in worship, but people that want to network with leaders in worship and serve God. And I love those type of conferences. I've had the pleasure of going to them. I still have a lot of friends from them as well. So no question about that.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I just wrote it down.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. And listen, we're going to stay in contact, obviously offline, and I will give you some more 411, and we'll definitely talk for sure.
Awesome.
Um, Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Favorite place I've ever traveled to? I'm gonna say Jamaica. I got married in Jamaica actually, but it was such an amazing experience in general. I've never been over that way before, and the people were incredible. Of course, the weather was great. It was just probably one of the best experiences. It was so much fun. So Jamaica was incredible.
Well, I will match you with that because that's also my favorite place that I've ever traveled to. I
No
went
way.
there. Yeah, so yeah, seriously. I went there on a cruise last year. It was my first time ever going on a cruise. It was also my first time ever having a passport. I got my passport
Mm.
last October, so of course I was excited to be able to go to all the ports. But Jamaica was the port that definitely took my breath away. I mean, the jerk chicken, the rice, the food, the people, the beaches, just the scenery was something
Yeah.
amazing. I took a lot of photos there, and I got to swim with some stingrays, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, so cool. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, it was a great time. It was awesome. My dad set up the trip. It was just amazing. So we went on my dad's side of the family. So it was just awesome, no question. Now, Jamie,
Fun.
I'm a sports reporter and I'm a sports person. So I got to ask you this sports question. It's a two-parter, okay? So
Okay.
Favorite sport you like to watch on TV. Favorite sport you like to attend in person. They can be the same sport.
I would say both would be basketball. I love basketball. It's my
You have just
favorite.
won my heart. You just won my heart.
We are so
Oh my
aligned
gosh.
here.
Yes. Amen. Thank God to give God the glory. I love that. Yes, indeed. Go ahead.
Yes, I grew up playing basketball. Not a ton, every just a little bit in middle school. But my family, like we always had like family games at home and stuff, and
Mhm.
it's just been such a staple for our family. So much fun playing basketball, and it's my favorite sport to watch on TV. I think it's only actually the only sport I can put up with on TV because I think the other ones are just so boring, to be honest, to watch on TV. Like live, of course, any game is fun, but basketball always has my attention. And then, of course, if you're there live, it's a blast.
Absolutely. No, listen, you don't have to sweet talk me, Jamie. I mean, you got me sold. You got me sold. There's no question about that. I am blushing. You just can't tell because of the pigmentation. That's all it is. But I am blushing for sure. Basketball is my number one sport. I grew up playing it in California. As I told you, I grew up in San Diego. So I'm a huge Lakers fan. The reason why I got into sports reporting was because of Kobe Bryant.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so yes, he was my definitely my inspiration, my idol. I grew up at that time, and I remember going to some of those parades early in the 2000s when I was in middle school, high school, in that transition. So I loved that. I loved going to those parades. I love basketball. What is your favorite team?
Warriors, of course.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Now, I'll tell you this. I'm actually planning, because I actually spoke to a couple representatives out there, because I know some Golden State ticket representatives. I'm
Hmm.
planning on going to a Warriors game Super Bowl week. So I'm still kind of working out the kinks, trying to make that happen. But I believe Super Bowl week, while I'm working on a day that I'm just going to try to take some relaxation, I'm going to go to a Warriors game in San Francisco. 'Cause I want to see the Chase Center. I mean, I'm out there. I might as well take advantage of it. So I'm
Yeah,
making plans to do that. So yes, the Warriors game for sure. I plan on going
100%.
to. Yes,
Awesome.
indeed, no doubt. Last of the favorites. I am a huge foodie, Jamie. So I want you to tell me what is your favorite restaurant to go out and eat at?
My favorite restaurant right now is Atraversiamo. It's not even just right now. It's always been our favorite since they opened, actually. Over here in Brentwood, they're amazing. They just hit every single time. The consistency of everything
Mhm.
is just incredible. They're on point. We know the owners. Anthony is my husband's best friend, and so he knows what he's doing. And the service is incredible too. You can't go wrong over there. It's called Altraversiamo over in the streets of Brentwood.
Okay. Now, what kind of food do they serve? It sounds like an Italian place. Is it Italian?
It's not actually. Well, the name is Italian, but they serve a little bit of everything. They have pasta, actually mostly pastas. So mostly, might be considered Italian, but it's pastas, it's steaks. They've got fish. They have a little bit of everything, and they have a seasonal menu, so it changes quite often. So always something new on the menu.
I'm gonna have to support my man Anthony. Shout out to him in that restaurant because Italian food is definitely one of my favorite foods, if not the top. Mexican is definitely up there though. It definitely rivals it pretty good. So Mexican and Italian food are my two genres. So yeah, I'm gonna have to check that restaurant out when I come out that way. That's for sure, no doubt.
Yeah, I'll
Uh,
send you their Instagram.
please do, because I definitely want to check out the menu for sure.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about your day to day. And as you
Mhm.
said, you do run a plumbing business, you are in real estate, you do have the podcast, and you also have written a book as well, right? So my thing is that no 2 days for a journalist, especially, is never the same. We're always covering something different. We're always doing something different, talking to different people. That's why I love my occupation, because it's not just the same old everyday routine. You're doing something different. Results are different in sports. I'm sure it's the same way with you dealing with different people. Tell me about your day-to-day operations of how you do so many different things, and how do you prepare yourself to do those things, and what exactly do you do?
My schedule is a little crazy, but I heavily rely on my planner. I time block quite off. Actually, I live off time blocking. That's the only way I can get all the things done, and be productive is just sticking to my schedule. I do wake up early, start my day early, and I continue to go through. Every day is the on the big picture, it's pretty much the same, but micro picture, it's a little bit different. I just you never know what's going to happen with tenants and property management. I'm constantly like I'm leasing out properties all the time. You know, the plumbing, we're trying to grow our service department right now, and it's a whole new animal of different that I'm trying to learn as we scale. So I'm trying to
Mhm.
grow in that department too. So every day is a little bit different, but I'm just embracing every moment as a learning opportunity, and doing what I using my resources to learn where I need to learn and grow. But yeah, my days are they're very chaotic, but I tend to stick to my schedule, like I said, and it keeps me productive getting things done because otherwise it would be chaotic throughout the whole day. But I do make sure that I allow a little bit of flexibility, and this is something I've learned a lot recently because sometimes I'll fill my schedule so much and not give myself enough flexibility to where I actually like overlap things, and it's just been I'm missing things because things are taking longer. So I'm learning the difference of allowing myself a little bit more wiggle room throughout the day, some buffer time, as some people call it. So
Sure.
yeah,
Yes.
but I at the end of the day, you know, my days end quite peaceful. I've been taking walks every night with my dogs around the ranch, and so I end my day just with God, and it's been great. And yeah, that's pretty much what my day to day looks like for the most part. My husband and I, we take off like almost every other weekend. We have been through summer. We've got this overlander camper that we can just take off and go anywhere, grab the dogs, and we've been going to Half Moon Bay quite a bit, and it's been so great for us to just connect, just be us and disconnect from the world. And so we've been doing that. So we've been learning how to be productive and get business done, but at the same time, like make sure that we have connection time for just us two at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about that. This bonus question came up in my mind. This is probably for people that want to eventually go into business for themselves and have, that entrepreneur type of role. But what was the decision for you to be able to go into an entrepreneurship type of role? It's hard to start it. It's hard to start it, because obviously everybody's finances are different. But what was that pivoting moment for you to be like, I'm gonna start this business, or I'm gonna do this business, or I'm gonna take over this business?
It's interesting because I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur and own my own business. Growing up, I didn't know what that was going to look like. My great grandparents had owned multiple businesses, so for a
Oh,
minute, I
okay.
thought I was going to go into jewelry, and then I just my thoughts were kind of everywhere. And so it's interesting because my husband at the time we met before we started working together, and I was working as a CA for a chiropractic office at the time, knowing that I wanted to own my own business and do my own thing. And I was actually in network marketing at the time, to just get the skills, that I needed to start something at least. I thought that I was going to go further in that, but I think that was just a milestone at that moment that God had me in to learn some things and then to meet Ron, actually, because that's how we met. And then I was working for the chiropractic office, and he saw something in me and he invited me to come work with him, actually. And I just took on the business as my own. And we started dating at the time too. So from, the very beginning, I took it on as my own, like it's my own business. And especially now that we're married, it is our business. And then we just started doing other real estate deals, and things just kind of came up with opportunities. And so I always knew I
Wow.
wanted to get into it, but I think it was God just opening the door for me to do it because I don't have this story where I'm like I started in my garage, with ground zero. I had so much help and so much opportunity with open doors, and I took every opportunity that I had that came to me. And so I'm very blessed in that way. I've learned a lot. It has been still very challenging in so many different ways, but
Hmm.
because as you scale, like you just hit different levels of growth opportunities. And so it's always been a challenge, but it's just been a blessing at the same time. So Again, I've always wanted to be in entrepreneurship. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I never thought I'd be in plumbing, of all things. But here we are, and I've learned that real estate is just an amazing opportunity to get into. And so here we are.
No, I appreciate that. Appreciate that backstory. I really do. And listen, you never know who you're going to meet that can affect and change your life. Look at what you were just talking about. You was in an office, and all of a sudden you met your husband, which is amazing. So, right, that's amazing that you two met, and I'm hoping for many more years of bliss between you two, which I know is absolute. There's no question about that. So,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. Do you do Airbnbs as far as your real estate?
We don't currently right now. Maybe in the future at some point. My husband and I actually have some ideas because we want to get a beach house, but that won't be full time. So eventually, we possibly want to Airbnb that out when the time comes. But at the time, right now, we do not have any Airbnbs.
Got you. I'm definitely going to check back with you in the following months. I don't know if it's going to happen in the following months, but you're going to be one of the first few people I ask because I particularly like staying in Airbnbs more than I like staying in hotels. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's just me. So typically when I do travel, because I travel about maybe a handful, five to 10 times a year, to be honest with you, going to different combines, different conferences, obviously, like I told you, Super Bowls and different All-Star games and stuff like that. So I do travel, and I don't like staying in hotels because hotels sometimes upcharge you so much, more so than the Airbnb does. So
Yeah.
that's why typically anybody that's in the housing game or anybody that's in the Airbnb game, I definitely want to get that question out there because hey, I'm willing to break off a little bit of bread, but sometimes not the hotel type of bread. That's for sure.
Right, right.
Hmm.
Right. Well, I will keep you posted too.
Please do, please do. Great segue though, because again, I want to ask you now about mental health and work-life balance. In my profession of journalism, I've seen a lot of journalists step away from journalism because their mental health is not as strong. I've seen journalists step away because of their work-life balance. In my opinion, in this profession of journalism, in this media in general, your work life balance is never going to be 100%. It's just not. Work life balance looks a plethora of ways to many different people. It's each his own to what the work life balance is. Now, with you, with all those things that I mentioned that you do, you're also a wife, you're also a daughter. You may be a sibling, you may have siblings as well as family. So tell me, how do you keep your mental health strong with the chaotic days that you have, but also still have that work-life balance? Because you seem like a wonderful woman to be around. I certainly wouldn't mind hanging out with you, Jamie, and I'm sure your friends and family feel the same way about you. But you also seem very dedicated to your businesses and very dedicated to what you're doing. So how do you split that time up without experiencing things like burnout?
That's such a great question. I have so many things to say. I experienced burnout a couple years ago and it was the most awful thing I've experienced. And so I was like, I'm never getting there again. Need to do whatever it takes to not experience burnout again. And so I learned ways to prevent that. So I don't fully believe in balance. I do believe that we go through rhythms, depending on the season of life you're in. You can be focusing more on business because you're trying to scale one department or whatnot. So
Hmm.
sometimes it takes a little more focus and time of your life to get that thing done. But you have to have that communication in your family, with your spouse, with your kids, that this is what it's looking like and this is why it's happening. But I do also recognize that while you are in those moments, you can still have some flexibility in your day to day. You don't have to be working from sun up to sundown 24 hours every single day of the week. Like, if you can just even take a few minutes, just make sure, especially to stay connected with God and in His Word. I think that's number one important, to make sure that you have that time, because even if it's 15 minutes a day, that will help your mental health. That will give
Right,
you the strength to get through the rest of your day.
right.
So this is funny that you're asking this, actually, because my perspective has changed a little bit, because I was like, for so long just grinding it out all the time, and I was looking back at my schedule and my life and what I was doing, and I'm like, I don't believe in this work-life balance thing really all the time, that it's always going to be balanced. But if you're looking at the day-to-day in a micro manner, you can actually take time throughout your day, though, to find that peace, to get yourself like armored up with God, so that you can prepare for the day and make sure that your relationships are still good too. Like, even if it's a 10-minute conversation face to face with your husband, that will reconnect you guys to make sure that you are not distancing yourself while you're in this busy season. And like I said, even taking a day or a weekend, if you can, every once in a while to get reconnected with your
Right.
family or your spouse or your kids, whatever that looks like. So there's rhythms of life, but you just need to find it in the day to day. Like I said, stay connected with God because He's ultimately the one who's going to give you the strength to get through everything else that you're going to face, and that will help your mental health dramatically. But even if you're recognizing something happening in the middle of your day, rather than like pushing through it, take a step back and like maybe go on a walk or change your physiology somehow so you can just like somehow just get back to neutral, and then you can prepare and you can go into that thing with a more neutral mind and more
Right.
steadfast where you can actually respond better. So there's little things you can do every day and then throughout your weeks and therefore throughout your months to keep you connected and your mental health strong.
Well, again, I appreciate the transparency. Burnout is real, no matter what profession that you're in, no question. But it's a question worth asking, though, because people love to do what they do, but at the same time, you do experience things like burnout. Like, I don't, I wouldn't say I experienced burnout, but I would definitely experience that it was tough on my mental health being away from family. When I moved to Minnesota, I didn't have any family around me at all. And I'm a huge family guy. I love to be around either just my mother or my dad. My mom's in Georgia. My dad's here in upstate New York. So I wanted to be around one of them for sure because they're getting older, and I know that I want to be around them just in case something happens. For sure. So, but that affected my mental health, and other people get their mental health affected in other ways. But I love the fact that you brought it back to the root of the conversation, which is being able to go to God, go to scripture, be able to pray about it, be able to have that person to talk about it, talk to about it.
Uh-oh.
To me, that's amazing. Oh, I lost you for a minute, but that's okay.
There you
That's all right.
go.
I'm back with you. I'm back with you. I was saying that it's great that you advocated about being in the scripture, being able to pray about it, being able to go to God, go and read, take time out to talk to your loved ones. Like you said, have a 10-minute conversation. In your case, husband, my case, wife, or anything like that, right? Well, eventual wife, because I'm still a bachelor, unfortunately, but that's okay. That's all right. It's a whole different podcast that I'll probably take your whole time up for sure. But I love that answer. But it's also another great segue to this question, and that is, what is some advice that you would give individuals that want to be in entrepreneurship, or somebody that wants to write a book, or someone that wants to start a podcast, right? You had to kind of get tugged and pulled and be like, okay, Jamie, start the podcast. And you're like, okay, and then you started it. What kind of advice would you give those individuals now that want to do those things?
Yes, I would say do not procrastinate on your calling. We tend to resist when we are fearful or we are facing something unknown. Just do it anyway. Do it scared because you know what? That's where you're going to learn and that's where you can fail forward. If you fail, just get right back up. And actually, those are learning opportunities for you. So do not let fear hold you back. Just step out in faith and just do the work. Just get to work because once you start, you'll find yourself in this flow and you'll realize it's actually not as hard as you thought it was going to be. Just like start doing it. Faith takes action. And so you have to just get to work.
I love that. I love that. Now, I forgot to mention, like, how many, I know you talked about the length of your podcast, which is about 20 minutes, if I'm not mistaken that you said that. But how many podcasts do you typically do a week? Or do you do 2 weeks or stuff like that? How many shows do you normally do?
We launch a new release is every Monday at 5 p.m. So once a week.
So once a week. I like that. Now, ignite your inner drive. which is a book that you wrote. Did you write that yourself, or did you have it co-written?
I did write it myself.
Okay, so I want to know what was the inspiration behind that? Where did the title come from? How long did it take you to write it? Where can people go get that book now? So yeah, talk about igniting your inner drive, and what does that entail? What does that exactly mean?
Yeah, I've always wanted to write a book. And so I actually started when I was 20. I started three different times. I think the third time I got to chapter 3 or 4, maybe, but every time I just like fell off. And so it was always in my heart. I'm like, I want to write a book. I want to write a book. And there's a few more that I want to write. I initially wanted to start with a self-help like novel, but since I hadn't ever written a book before, I'm like, that's a little bit challenging. So I started with just a self-help in general book where I took a collective of a lot of my journals from the past and things that I have learned and those specific topics that I felt like could help other people with their motivation and their drive and their goals. And so that's exactly what it's about. Embracing the challenges and how to set the proper goals for you and how to keep your motivation going and set the environment for motivation because motivation is fleeting. You have to have your discipline in place. But that's what it's about. And it took me about 6 months to write, to put it all together. Having those journals was so helpful because I already knew exactly what I wanted to do. It was more about like filling in the blanks of the pages.
Hmm.
But it was a blast to do. And I have so many more that I want to write. Again, like I have a self-help novel in mind that I've already started writing notes on. I want to do a children's series too. So it's just all in God's timing, but writing is one of my joys. So I love writing.
Again, you do not have to sweet talk me, dear. I love to write. I love to write. I love, obviously, when you're writing about something that you're very passionate about, the passion is going to be illustrated through the book or through your writings, whatever you do. I'm a huge writer in sports and music. Those are my two loves. Theater is probably a third love. I do love theater as well. But I love the fact that you are doing that. Again, paying it forward, being able to wanting to help people with self-help books. But I want to ask you because it almost sounds like to me that you can be a coach. Do people like come to you like for maybe one-on-one counsel? Do people sit down to you, call you, and say, is there certain things that you kind of tell them to kind of coach them on certain things, or do you see yourself as that?
You know, more and more people I think have been coming to me that way. I have a lot of my friends come to me in that manner, and I'm grateful for it. I'm happy to be that for them. I don't do it in any kind of professional way. I don't have any courses or anything like that. But I do have people
Hmm.
often coming to me, like strangers who do think that I'm in coaching in that business, just from the things that I have out there. And so maybe eventually
Yeah.
that's God's plan. I'm not sure. But I do love that one-on-one because being able to help somebody individually it's a joy for me. I just love that I can do that.
Yeah, that's just what it sounds like, to be honest with you. It just sounds like that the way that you're doing things, the way that you're explaining things, it just sounds like it's a coffee talk kind of conversation. Like you sit down at Starbucks, have a cup of coffee, and you talk about and you kind of kick the bucket between different
Right.
things and stuff like that, which is amazing. It's amazing to do. It's a
Thank
great
you.
way to network with people. It's a great way to get to know them, but it's also a great way to show vulnerability. And it's
Hmm.
also a great way to open up people's ideas. I think the best thing in life, in my opinion, is talking to different people with different backgrounds, with different situations, because they can be able to open your mind up to different thoughts and
Yes.
processes of other people.
Hmm.
And that's just my opinion for sure. No
Hmm.
question about that. And you've been absolutely lovely so far in this conversation. There's no question about that, Jamie. And I love talking to you, by the way. But I want to digress because now we are at the point of my podcast where we're going to play my interactive game
Okay.
called This or That. So
Okay.
what it is a game that I play with all of my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. And it's very simple. I'm going to throw some things at you and you get to choose this or that. So, Jamie, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, here we go. So, as a California native, I know you know about this. Out of these two restaurants, which restaurant would you rather eat at? Would you rather go to Five Guys or In and Out?
In and out.
I know that's right, girl. You are on point like a period. I know that's right. People out here don't know what in and out is. They sleeping. They in a coma. I'm like, what's
Yeah,
going on? What's going on?
I
It's only the
know.
greatest burger joint ever. Like, come
Hmm.
on now.
That's
I'm with you
right.
on that. I'm with you on that. I normally get the double double and get a vanilla shake. I'm with you on that. That's what I
So
like to
good.
do. So good, right? I like that. We're off to a good start. When it comes to chicken wings, which flavor of the wing would you rather put on the wing? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Lemon pepper.
Okay. When it comes to that flavor being put on the wing, do you like it wet or dry?
Dry.
When it comes to that wing being wet and dry, would you rather have that wing bone in or boneless?
Mmm. Boneless.
Wow,
I
you
had to
went
think
in,
of that
you
one.
yeah, yeah. You went against the norm on that one. Okay, okay. So what do you say when people say a boneless wing is nothing more than a chicken nugget?
Yeah, I guess that's true. But you know what? I guess that's right because I've never had a wing that's been boneless. But if I have the option, then I just don't like the bones. I don't like it. So I'd rather have a nugget.
And you know what? And I'm totally with you on that, Jamie. So let's rock on. I'm with you
All
on that. That's
right.
what's up. All right, we are in sync, girl. I love it. So these next 5 questions have to do with music concerts you rather attend. Now, like I told you, I listen to all type of genres. Do you listen to just worship music, or do you listen to maybe country music, R&B music? Do you listen to other genres?
I listen to mainly Christian music, but I also listen to EDM. Like I love EDM. So actually, you know what's funny is I know it's crazy, but I found like this worship EDM mix. And I'm like, wait, this is a whole new world. So I can get the best of both worlds now on Spotify. It's excellent. Yeah,
That is
that's
that is
mainly
something different.
it.
No question. I do love EDM music. I'm a huge Skrillex fan. Do you
Okay.
remember the band Skrillex?
Uh huh. Yes, I do.
Yeah, yep. So yeah, that was my band. I love that. My goal in life is still to go to a Tomorrow World type of event.
Oh yes, it looks so
Yes,
fun.
yes, that looks crazy fun. Like I really
Mm-hmm.
do want to go to that for sure. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this first concert that I'm gonna name, which music concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Chris Tomlin or Matthew West?
Matthew West.
Yep, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Yes, love me some Matthew West. Okay,
Yes.
here we go. Which music concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Elevation Worship or Hillsong United?
Hillsong United.
Okay. I like that. I
I
like
would
that.
say that maybe because I already saw Elevation Worship. Maybe I don't know. I love Hillsong though. They're so good.
Very good. Very good. No question. Here's the third one. Which music concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Marvin Sapp or would you rather see Kurt Franklin?
Kirk Franklin, because I don't know who Marvin is.
Have you ever heard the song Never Would Have Made It?
Maybe actually. I'm typically bad at artists, so maybe I have heard him. I'm just not really familiar with his name. I'll have to go look him up.
Mm. Yeah, he's pretty. That song is pretty popular, but with him for sure. But yeah, it's definitely a touching song for sure, no
Okay.
question.
Awesome.
Okay, here we go. The fourth one. Which music concert would you rather go see? Would you rather see Lecrae or would you rather see Andy Mineo?
Mm, I'm not super familiar with either. Actually, I think I'm more familiar with Lecrae, so I'll say Lecrae.
Okay, now Lecrae he's I believe retired now, but he was definitely one of the hip hop Christian artists for sure, no question about that. He was big time, and so is Andy Mineo too. I like them both. I like them both. I rock with them both for sure. Now, this is the last one on the music. Which music concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Toby Mac or Mercy Me?
Toby Mac. I've already seen Mercy Me, but Mercy Me is my favorite. Like their
Hmm
song. I can only imagine is like my all-time favorite song. So I've already seen them though, so I'm gonna say the other just because of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think my two all-time favorite like songs of the gospel is He's in the Room, which is Maverick City Music.
Hmm.
And I Am Who You Say I Am, which is Hillsong United.
So good.
Uh those are very good. Very powerful, very good. No question about that. Those are my two favorite, for
Yes.
sure. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to sports. Which
Okay.
sport would you rather watch on TV if you had to? Football or baseball?
Football.
Okay, I like that. Which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Bowling.
Are you a good bowler?
Probably not. I haven't been in so long, but I would say probably not the best. But it's fun.
Okay.
Maybe I go
I
with the
love.
bumpers up.
Oh Lord. Oh no. Oh. Okay. I'm with you on that. I love how you looked up. I love how you looked up in the sky and you was like, probably not. I love how you did that. Uh, like you just knew that nah, this question's not gonna end well. Like I feel that. I love that. I love that also. I love that. That's so awesome. Okay. Do you like desserts?
I do.
Okay. So I'm gonna name four categories of desserts, Jamie. You have
Okay.
to choose one of these categories that you'll never eat again. So here we
Okay.
go. The first category is gonna be cookies.
Okay.
The next category is gonna be candy. The next category is gonna be ice cream. The last category is grouped together. Pies/cakes. Which one are you getting rid of?
Mm, probably probably candy.
I would say Jamie is on point like a period. That's what I would say. I would say you are on point like a period. I love that. Now, I would say this. What is your favorite ice cream?
Ooh, my favorite ice cream is mint chocolate chip.
There, so many people are hopping on this podcast and they're saying that mint chocolate chip, but I'm gonna throw out a fun fact. I've never had it. I've
Really?
never had, yeah, never had that flavor. I've
Oh,
never
it's
had
so
that
good. It's just
flavor.
refreshing.
I definitely walked into that one. That's for sure. No question. No question. You know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to try that flavor and I'm going to report back to you and I'm going to let you know how it is
Okay,
for sure.
perfect. I'm looking forward
And
to
now,
it.
is there a particular brand that I should try or is all brands of mint chocolate chip pretty good?
I think all brands are pretty good, honestly. And if you can do like a gelato though, a gelato is like the best. But yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Enough said. I like that. Do you like potato chips?
Yes, they're not like my go-to choice, but I do like them.
Okay, so it's the same format. I'm going to name four brands. You have to choose one of these brands to get rid of. So here we
Okay.
go, Jamie,
Okay.
okay? So the
Mm-hmm.
first brand is going to be Pringles.
Okay.
The next brand is going to be Doritos.
Okay.
The next brand is going to be Ruffles. The last brand is going to be Lay's. Which
Okay.
one are you getting rid of?
Probably Lay's.
Okay, I like that. Now, you don't have to name the other three. But if I ask you, and if we walking into a store together, you and I say, Jamie, pick out your favorite potato chip that you want to eat. What chip are you grabbing?
Probably a baked barbecue chip.
Okay. I would say, girl, you got some good taste buds. I mean, we good. We are all good. Like you did really well on this or that, except with the bowling bumpers. But other than that, you did
I
well.
know.
You did well on this or that, and I'm so proud and so happy.
Thank
That is
you.
just amazing. That's amazing. Okay, I want to know now. Uh, Advice. Now we asked about advice you would give someone, but what is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Hmm. Um, I'm gonna say recently, actually, I was given this advice. I do see a therapist. She's amazing. I got her as a reference from the church. She's helped me through so many things. And she gave me some recent advice that was like a total breakthrough for me. So when we're dealing with the spiritual warfare, like the mind battles that I tend to experience, I tend to go off like and isolate myself only with God to try to get through it, rather than inviting my
Mm-hmm.
husband in to pray over me about it and inviting him in. And she had suggested to be open with him about it and tell him about what I'm going through and have him lay hands on me and pray over me and invite him in, so then we're not doing it alone, but we can rebuke the spirit in out loud, in Jesus' name together, and it will actually reconnect us together too and get rid of that demonic spirit. So that was a major breakthrough for me. Some amazing
Mm.
advice. I know that was
Wow.
kind of
No,
deep.
that is amazing advice. No question about that. And do you still see that therapist today?
I do, yeah. She's incredible.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate that. Like, sometimes people talk about therapy as a sign of weakness and not being able to go. I don't see it that way. I see it as a sign of sometimes you have to talk to someone who's in a professional sense that's outside of a loved one, because loved ones sometimes tell you what you want to hear instead of what you need to hear.
Yeah.
Because your loved ones are always going to be on your side, right? Your loved ones are going to be your day ones. But when you seek that professional help and you get that advice from them, whether it's male or female, it just feels so refreshing to be able to talk uh, uh, to someone that's neutral, that
Yeah.
has no kind of sway in what your decision may be. So I definitely love that for you. Are there any goals in your mind when it comes to maybe your podcast that you want to do, or certain guests that you want to have on, like maybe a bucket list of goals that you want to do with your podcast, or a bucket list maybe you want to do with your book, or books that you want to write in the future?
Great question. With my podcast in particular, I haven't really laid those specific goals out quite yet. I was honestly just
Hmm.
trying to get it out there at first, but now that it's there, I do want to put together those specific goals so I can actually like put together measurements to hit metrics, and get it out to as many people. For my book, I let's see, I do want to do more marketing like campaigns and do I want to have like a book party, like launch party, to like relaunch it again now that it's been out for about a year and a half, just to get it out there again
Hmm.
and do a little refresher of it, because I just wanted to
Yeah.
get it in as many hands as possible. And I don't have a specific metric like number quantity in mind of like how many to sell or whatnot, because to me for that it's like not necessarily about the number. I just if it can help one person, then I'm happy. It's done its job. But I do have goals to, like I said, I have other books that I want to write, and I foresee that happening in like the next couple of years. I don't think anything will come out this year. Of course, we're already at the end of the year in the last quarter, but I think at least maybe
Right.
next year I'll start another one because I'm already halfway through a devotional actually that I started last year. So maybe that could be my goal next year. By the end of next year, have that be launched. Um, and let's see. I mean, with the other businesses, there's so many goals that we're trying to accomplish right now. We're trying to get the plumbing business scaled in the service department. We want to hire four other service technicians so then we can be the trusted number one plumber in our area. And I want to hire also like two other people underneath me so then I can get out of the weeds and on top of the business more so it can just be I can have my
Mhm.
eyes at a better distance of the whole picture with the business. And
Right.
yeah, and then with our real estate, Ron and I actually just invested in another project. We are actually it's I don't know if you've heard of Mac's Old House. It's out here in Oakley, or I'm sorry, Antioch. It's out here in Antioch, but it was open for a very long time. It was one of the staple restaurants out here, and it had just closed down about a year ago. But we just acquired the building with a partner, and so that project we haven't even closed escrow on that yet, actually, but we're very excited to have that project going and get that up and running for the city again because it was such a staple. So we've got a lot of big projects coming up, but again, we want to make that time also for us. So we're trying to get the passive income coming, so then we can go also to find other projects that like God calls us to so that we can help other people in need at the same time.
Absolutely. No, and I love that. And I love the fact that you have those type of goals in your mind. And one of the reasons why I like asking that question to different people is I want people to speak their goals, but not just speak it, but also speak them into
Yes.
existence, right? I feel like if you're always striving for something, then you'll never get complacent, you'll never get bored, you'll always be able to strive for it and be able to go get it. And even when you hit those goals, now what's the next goals, right? So to me, I love asking questions like that, and I really have had an absolute blast, Jamie, talking to you about your why of getting into entrepreneurship, what you do as far as entrepreneurship, some of your past struggles that you've had, but also the authoring of your book, ignite your inner drive. Also, your podcast, Rooted with Real Talk, the Real Talk podcast, which I will be listening to this next Monday coming up prior to me watching Monday Night Football, which is amazing. So I definitely will be listening to that, and people that need to check that out every Monday at 5 p.m. PST time. I'm assuming that's what it is. So they need to check that out. Where can people go listen to this podcast? But also, where can people also cop your book at?
Yes, great question. So you can find the podcast, Rooted Real Talk with Jamie Mallek, is on Spotify, but also Apple Podcasts and on iHeartRadio. If you want to pick up Ignite Your Inner Drive, you can find it on my website, jamiemallek.org.
I love that. I love that. And listen, like I said, I really do appreciate you allocating your time to me being on my podcast. You are a wonderful woman, and I know that's an understatement, and I'm sorry about that, but you are absolutely wonderful. There's no question about that. I really do appreciate it. Again, I'm a new fan of yours. My final question to you is that is there anything else you would like to add about yourself, entrepreneurship, authoring, podcast, or anything at all before you and I conclude?
I just want to encourage people to not settle and never think that your dreams are too big. Just go out there and just take the first step and face your fears just by doing it in faith and taking action. And watch yourself just like grow from there, because you will learn along the way, and it's never going to be perfect, but you will learn and you will grow and you will succeed if you just keep on going. So, Chris, it's been so much fun. I've just loved this conversation with you.
It's been absolutely amazing, Jamie. There's no question about it. I believe in Hebrews, and I'll leave it with this. I believe in Hebrews, it talks about adversity being inevitable, struggle being inevitable. I'm a huge person that always goes back to the scriptures as well, because I have it rooted in myself, no pun intended. I have it been rooted in myself. And struggle is inevitable, adversity is inevitable. It really challenges our character, how we are, and it molds us and shapes us. And the people that deal with it normally come out on top in whatever way, fashion that is, however way you see that. The people that let it crumble them, unfortunately, just need a little bit more help or extra motivation. And that's something that I typically try to tell people all the time is that it's okay to get help. It's okay to be have that extra motivation. It's okay to stumble. We all do. We all have, and we all continue to will, because nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But if we stay together, if we stay rooted, if we stay diligent, if we stay positive in our approach in life, many things will come to us. There's no question about that. And I truly do believe that. So, again, Jamie, I'm a new fan of yours. You and I will definitely be talking in the upcoming days, weeks, and months. And I want you to enjoy the rest of your Saturday and the rest of your weekend. And again, you and I will be in
Thank
touch.
you, Chris. You too. Thank you so much. Bye.